It is 3:17 a.m. You wake up, heart pounding, mind racing. You stare at the ceiling for an hour and then finally drift back. Tomorrow at the same time it happens again. And the night after. And the night after. You are not random. You are not anxious for no reason. You are not broken. A 1,500-year-old framework from traditional Chinese medicine and modern hepatology research converge on the same answer. Your liver is detoxifying at peak intensity between 1 and 3 a.m., and when it cannot keep up, it wakes you up. Today, the 7 reasons your liver is pulling you out of sleep at exactly the same time each night. Sign number 1 will surprise almost everyone. Welcome back to Inflammation Nation. Today we are investigating why so many adults wake at exactly 3 a.m. and what your body is trying to tell you. The traditional Chinese medicine organ clock divides 24 hours into 12 2-hour windows, when each major organ does its peak metabolic work. The gallbladder runs 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., the liver runs 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., the lungs take over from 3 to 5 a.m. For 15 centuries, practitioners read these windows like a map of internal health. Modern circadian biology has now validated almost every piece of that map. Liver gene expression measurably peaks between 1 and 3 a.m. Glycogen breakdown ramps. Bile production cycles. Toxin clearance accelerates. The clock genes BML1, Cry1, and PER2 turn the hepatocyte into a third-shift detoxification factory while you sleep. When that factory is overwhelmed by alcohol, processed food, seed oils, stored xenobiotics, or chronic stress cortisol, the autonomic nervous system surges, blood sugar drops, cortisol spikes, and the body wakes you up. Here are the 7 reasons your liver is waking you up at 3 a.m. Counting down. Sign 7. Histamine accumulation. The liver is your primary site of histamine breakdown through an enzyme called diamine oxidase and a methylation pathway called HNMT. When the liver is congested, histamine accumulates in circulation overnight. A 2020 paper in the Journal of Hepatology documented that subjects with impaired hepatic methylation showed 2 and 3 times higher overnight plasma histamine. Histamine is wakefulness chemistry. It is the same molecule the antihistamine in your medicine cabinet blocks to make you sleepy. When histamine accumulates between 1 and 3 a.m., the brain treats the surge as a wake signal. The pattern often presents as a sudden alert wake-up around 3, sometimes with itchy skin, a flushed feeling, or a racing heart. It is not anxiety, it is unfiltered histamine. High histamine foods like aged cheeses, smoked items, and fermented products eaten too close to bedtime stack the load on a system that is already struggling. For plant-based eaters, the common culprits are aged vinegars, kombucha late in the evening, and very ripe tomatoes. Sign 7 points at a liver that is no longer keeping up with daily histamine load. Sign 6. Bile acid timing and constipation. Bile is produced in the liver and stored in the gallbladder. Peak release happens with meals, but a slower background flow continues through the night to carry waste, cholesterol, and toxins out through the colon. When the colon is sluggish, when constipation is chronic, when fiber intake is low, those bile acids do not exit. They reabsorb back into the bloodstream through what is called the enterohepatic circulation, and the liver has to process them a second and a third time. A 2019 review in Sleep Medicine Reviews connected delayed bile acid clearance with fragmented overnight sleep, particularly with consistent wake-ups in the second half of the night. The liver works the same shift twice. The body interprets the overflow as a metabolic emergency and pulls you awake. There is an emotional layer here that traditional Chinese medicine flagged centuries before modern science could measure it. The liver is the organ of stored anger and unresolved frustration. The same cortisol curve that constricts the bile ducts under chronic stress flattens the muscular contractions of the colon. The two systems jam together. Sign 6 points at a downstream plumbing problem that surfaces as a 3 a.m. wake-up. Sign 5. High-protein dinner. The liver is responsible for deaminating excess amino acids, converting nitrogen to urea, and clearing the ammonia that builds up from protein breakdown. A heavy protein load eaten close to bedtime stacks that work directly on top of the 1 to 3 a.m. detox window. Even plant-based eaters who eat large portions of soy protein concentrate, seitan or protein powder shakes late in the evening can overload the same pathway. A 2021 paper in Cell Metabolism showed that subjects with high evening protein intake had measurably elevated overnight ammonia and elevated cortisol pulses between 2 and 3:30 a.m. The body wakes because the liver is signaling overflow. Sign 5 points at the timing of dinner, not just the content. Lighter plant-based dinners eaten earlier consistently improve overnight liver workload. Sign 4, seed oil oxidative load. The industrial seed oils that saturate the modern food supply. Soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil are extracted under high heat and arrive in the body partially oxidized. Phase 1. Liver detoxification has to convert those oxidized lipids into water-soluble metabolites through the cytochrome P450 enzyme system, and Phase 2 has to conjugate the byproducts for excretion. When the daily seed oil load is high, that system runs at maximum during the 1 to 3 a.m. window and frequently overflows. A 2022 review in Hepatology documented that high linoleic acid intake correlated with elevated overnight oxidative stress markers and disrupted sleep architecture. The wake-up is the body announcing the detoxification pathway is jammed. Sign 4 points at the oil hidden in nearly every restaurant meal, snack food, and packaged item in a Western kitchen. Even foods marketed as healthy, the protein bars, the vegan mayonnaise, the trail mixes, the hummus from the deli case, are usually built on industrial seed oils. The cumulative daily load is far higher than most people realize. The liver pays the bill at 3 a.m. Sign 3. Cortisol dysregulation. The HPA axis and the liver are wired together in a feedback loop most people have never heard of. When chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated through the day, the natural overnight dip flattens, and the liver loses one of its primary repair signals. The liver clock genes BMAL1 and PER2 are directly modulated by cortisol rhythm. When that rhythm flattens, hepatic detoxification timing scatters. A 2020 Nature paper on liver clock genes showed that disrupted cortisol curves in chronically stressed subjects shifted hepatic gene expression by up to 4 hours. The liver tries to run its 1 to 3 a.m. shift, fails to coordinate with the rest of the body, and the autonomic nervous system pulls you awake. The wake-up itself usually presents with a racing mind, replayed conversations, and that familiar tight feeling in the chest. This is the wake-up that feels emotional even when nothing emotional happened during the day. Traditional Chinese medicine called this stagnant liver qi for 1,500 years. Modern endocrinology now confirms the mechanism. Sign 3 points at unresolved stress that has rewired the liver clock. Sign 2, alcohol metabolism overflow. Even a single glass of wine with dinner hours before bed measurably reshapes the 1 to 3 a.m. liver window. Alcohol metabolism uses the same alcohol dehydrogenase pathway and the same cytochrome P450 system that handles other toxins. When the liver is processing ethanol, it cannot run its full detox panel on schedule. A 2021 meta-analysis in Sleep Medicine Reviews documented that even moderate evening alcohol intake delayed REM, fragmented the second half of the night, and consistently produced wake-ups between 2 and 4 a.m. The wake-up is not the alcohol making you sleepy. It is the body rebounding once the alcohol clears and the cortisol surges to compensate. Sign 2 points at a substance most people consider relaxing that is actually the largest controllable disruptor of the overnight liver shift. And now, sign number 1, the one almost no one talks about: blood sugar volatility and liver glycogen exhaustion. Your liver stores roughly 100 grams of glycogen, a reserve of glucose your body taps during the overnight fast to keep your brain fueled. When the daily diet is high in refined carbohydrates, high in seed oils, and high in late evening sugar, the liver is forced to refill glycogen aggressively, and the storage runs out faster overnight. By 2:30 or 3 a.m., the reserves are depleted, blood glucose drops, and the body responds by spiking cortisol and adrenaline to release stored sugar through a process called gluconeogenesis. The cortisol surge wakes you up, heart pounding, eyes wide open, mind racing. A 2023 study in cell metabolism using continuous glucose monitors confirmed that subjects with the most fragmented 3 a.m. wake-ups consistently showed the steepest overnight glucose drops. This is the single most common mechanism behind the 3 a.m. wake-up pattern and the one most often missed by sleep specialists and even by integrative practitioners. Sign 1 points at a liver that has run out of fuel before sunrise and a stress response that is doing exactly what it was designed to do. That is 7 reasons your liver is waking you up at 3 a.m. Histamine, bile timing, late protein, seed oils, cortisol rhythm, evening alcohol, and blood sugar collapse. The pattern across all 7 is consistent. The 1 to 3 a.m. window is the liver's hardest shift of the day, and modern living has overloaded it from almost every direction. The framework the ancient practitioners drew on a scroll is the same framework Cell Metabolism is now publishing in 2023 and 2024 papers. The liver runs on a clock. Modern life is breaking that clock, and the body is broadcasting the problem at exactly the same hour every night. The plant-based recovery protocol that consistently restores the overnight liver shift is straightforward. Daily cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts to feed Phase 2 detoxification. Bitter greens, dandelion, arugula, radicchio, watercress to support bile flow. Milk thistle extract with silymarin for hepatocyte protection. Glycine-rich plant foods, pumpkin seeds, legumes, and spirulina to fuel Phase 2 conjugation. Magnesium glycinate at night to support deep sleep and stabilize the nervous system. Complete elimination of evening alcohol. No eating after 7 p.m., so the liver can run its detox shift unloaded. And dim warm light after sunset so melatonin can rise on its natural schedule. Within 2 to 3 weeks of that protocol, most people stop waking at 3 a.m. entirely. If this investigation made you think about your 3 a.m. wakings differently, subscribe so you do not miss next week. We are going after the supplement industry's biggest lie. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical.